What's going on, guys? Welcome to the episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be recapping episode 3 of Destination X, the brand new competition reality series where contestants are trapped on a bus they eat, sleep, and travel together through Europe's most desirable locations on the Destination X bus. The players each share an unmistakable sense of wanderlust, but with a consistently shifting alliances, unexpected adversaries are forced to discover who they can trust, whose strengths will take them the farthest, and who to send to the map room. In the first 2 episodes, we have seen 2 contestants go home. One obviously being Josh, the other one being Jonah. Jonah one kind of broke my heart a little bit because I was rooting for Jonah. That being said, let's move on to episode 3, where we see a little bit of spiciness go down with Allie and Shane sharing a kiss. Could we have our first little showmance action going on with Destination X? You can't have a reality TV show, no matter what it is, without a little bit of showmance going on. All right. But moving right along here, Buggy said he can't close the deal with women, which was hilarious. Rachel says she's going to try and change her game to get to know everyone because she feels like she is kind of behind, which, I mean, to be honest with you, if you've been watching, you agree as well. The crew is inserted into a maze, which was hilarious to see the reaction. They were teamed up in pairs of 2. Along the way, they must hit 3 clues, but the first pair each clue will actually get the real clue while the rest of the team will get fake ones. Ty and Shane paired together were the first 2 to complete this mission. I'll tell you what. This to me, like this entire competition throughout this was hysterical. Okay. Because for me, when you're watching it, these people are lost. They're trying to figure stuff out. They're trying to figure out where they're at. They're trying to do everything in between. And they were just doing a terrible, terrible job at it. It was hilarious to watch this entire scene unfold. All right. So Ty and Shane, they got to pick an item. They chose a phone and they are about to receive an advantage. Jaina, and Peter have arrived to Destination X. We've seen them all over the cast, but we were waiting for them to appear. Jaina and Peter have arrived. Jaina meets Ty, and she has the power to save someone from the map room. Peter meets with Shane, and his advantage is that he gets to send someone to the map room. So Ty and Shane work. This was interesting, obviously, because obviously by the end of this episode, they're going to have to make a tough decision. Now, one of them could save one another, opposite, vice versa, right? So Ty and Shane work with Allie and Biggie to share the clues. They have arrived at the new spot where they are underneath plates. They got an X under the plate. Ty got the X, and she got to choose who will go head to head. Whoever loses will go into the map room. So Ty challenged Rachel. Mac chose Kim. Shane chose Rick, Biggie, and Allie. It's a game of croquet. Croquet was the Olympic sport for 1 year, over 100 years ago, and that's where our next destination is. Anybody at home guess what that was? Because I had absolutely no clue, and I'm watching it. The first person to get the ball through the hole is safe. We saw Ty clean up pretty well and beat Rachel. Kim beat Mac. And apparently Kim has played croquet her entire life, I guess. We see Rick beat Shane, which was definitely interesting because obviously this is going to be where our cards come in handy in a little bit. You know what I mean? The saving of the cards here. And then, of course, Allie beats Biggie in quite a close match. This was impressive. I'll be honest with you. Allie was impressive in this episode. She kind of skyrocketed up my rankings a little bit and what we kind of expect from her. I wasn't sure. We haven't been really sure what to expect from her, but this was really one like, hey, this is impressive. Like she's working well here. Obviously, let's talk about who's getting sent to the map room. This is where things get quite interesting, right? Because the current people set to go to the map room are obviously Rachel, Mac, Shane, and Biggie. Those are the people that were supposed to head to the map room. Ty has the opportunity to use her advantage to take somebody and save somebody from going into the map room. Of course, she picks Shane. She's going to pick her right hand person that helped her win the competition. She's going to protect him, rightfully so. Gameplay strategy. It's smart to stick and have somebody close to your vest. And then on the flip side, we had Shane, of course, put Rick into the box or into the map room. If you would have put me in this map room and I would have guessed who was going to go home, the person that ended up going home, our third person to go home from this competition is in fact Rachel. The thing about it is Rachel didn't have a strategic game where she was not even saying teaming, right? Not even teamwork per se, but I didn't feel like she had the social strategy game to be able to befriend others to help her navigate where they were. Um, the crew was in Paris. Rachel placed her ex in Cannes, while everyone else did, in fact, pick Paris. So this was the first one where we've seen somebody that far away, right? Jonah and Mac were like 3 miles apart last week. This week, big distance. Rachel in Cannes, everybody else in Paris. Now, Jeffrey D. Morgan, who, oh man, he's been a great host of this show. He says, well, he opens the window to show them the Eiffel Tower. And we're like, oh man, that's cool. That's really cool. And then out of nowhere, we see Jaina and Peter dancing together. They're just swinging and dancing in the middle. They're like, what is going on? They're just like watching them dance. And they're like, what is happening? You know what I mean? And I understand the element of promoting this show and having Jaina and Peter on the show. So you want to have them at the forefront of, promoting the show because you want their faces out there. But this would have been really cool as more of a surprise. But I get it, right? But Peter and Jaina, they head on to the bus and they will be joining them on the bus, cruising across to figure out to see if they can win Destination X for themselves. Everyone is shocked by the two arriving. Ty pretended not to know Jaina or have ever even met her, while Shane more or less kind of just off in the cut a little bit, not really saying anything to Peter. And then out of nowhere, we get a nice little cliffhanger here. But Peter reveals that he gave Shane the card earlier at the maze. Shane admits to it. However, Ty says she didn't meet anyone earlier. And everybody's confused. Jaina's like, I don't think I can trust her. And I'm with her. I'm like, how are you? You're just going to flat out deny. She said this. I am going to ride or die with the idea that I didn't meet with Jaina. And I don't understand why. The interesting thing is I don't understand why she lied here. I don't feel like she had to lie. But that being said, another good episode. I'm really enjoying Destination X. I hope you guys are enjoying Destination X because this is something I would really love to see again before we dive out, before we leave here, obviously. So Destination X, episode 3, we're going to talk about my top 3 heading into episode 4. So my top 3 heading into episode 4 of Destination X. I'm going to leave Peter and Jaina out for now because they're just new to the game and they could have targets on their back for being new. That said, my current top 3, coming in at number 3, I'm going to throw out Rick. I feel like he's kind of an underdog, a little bit of a sleeper when it comes down to it. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to say Allie. I feel like she made a shift this week. I don't know what it was, but I had Mac here in my number 2 spot. She's fallen out of my top 3, which is kind of sad because I do love Mac and I do think that she can go a long way. I'm going to put Shane at number 1. This 1000% would have had Ty in the top 3, but when she didn't say that she made Jaina, it kind of threw me for a loop, and I feel like it's going to put a target on her back that nobody can trust her. So top 3, Rick, Allie, and Shane. That is it for this week's episode of Destination X. Who do you think is going to win Destination X? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the late additions to the cast as well? Thank you guys so much for tuning in.